to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Shall we bow our heads? Father, we thank you for the opportunity to gather again and to be able to take care of the business of the town. I thank you, Father, for every council person, every police officer. We pray your protection upon them as they continue to protect the town and the people who live within it. We pray, Lord, that you would bless our schools, keep our children, parents alike, every citizen, Father, protected. Give them the grace to collaborate in their efforts and to allow you to keep us and to strengthen us and to empower us so that we may continue to grow in business, grow in education, and grow in every avenue that it would help us to be healthy. Bless our meeting today. We thank you, Father, for solutions to challenges, and we thank you for success for the entire town of Merrillville. We ask these prayers in Jesus' name, and we all said, Amen. Amen.
Amen. Please remain standing for a moment of silence. Thank you, everyone. Please be seated. Mr. January, could you call the roll of the council, please?
Yes, Mr. President. Vice President Neal.
Here.
Councilwoman Haynes Edwards.
Present.
Councilwoman Chandler Felton.
Present.
Councilwoman Uselak.
Here.
Councilman Pettit.
Here.
Councilwoman Hardaway. President Bella.
Here.
6 present, 1
Very
absent.
good. Thank you. Moving on tonight to petitions, communications, acknowledgements, and remonstrations. We have a special guest here tonight. We're going to do a swearing in of our new and first ever Merrillville Police Auxiliary Officer, Chief Newses.
Thank you, Mr. President. Hello, everybody. I'd like to introduce everybody to Mr. Lawrence Jones. Go ahead and step on up here. Lawrence Jones is going to be our first ever auxiliary police officer for the Merrillville Police Department. He is no stranger to our department. Mr. Jones, along with Josh Perry, if I can get you to stand up and we can give a wave to Josh. Everybody, this is Josh Perry of Baden Canine. They have been instrumental in making our canine program work here. They've been instrumental in making our program work here. Mr. Jones is also part of a co-host on Fox and Friends in the morning. You can see him from 6 to 9 in the morning, I believe. Is that correct, sir? So we'll go ahead and do the official swearing in of Mr. Jones, and I have something to say afterwards. But prior to that, we also have Mrs. Jennifer Ruth Green here as well, Secretary of Public Safety, correct? She's joined us as well, and that's very admirable of her, and we appreciate your coming by, and she has something to present and say to Mr. Jones as well. So we'll go ahead and get started with the official stuff. This is Mr. January, our clerk treasurer. He will be doing the swearing in.
All right, just repeat after me. I, Lawrence B. Jones. Do solemnly swear or affirm. That I will support the Constitution of the United States. And the Constitution of the State of Indiana. And that I will faithfully. Diligently. And impartially discharge my duties. As an auxiliary officer of the town of Merrillville. Indiana, according to the law. And to the best of my ability. So help me God.
Next, we have Ms. Secretary of Public Safety, Jennifer Ruth Green.
Thank you so much, Chief. It is an honor to be here tonight. Governor Braun sends his regards, and he would love to have the opportunity to be here. I first met Officer Jones in Washington, D.C. I was in my mesh dress at an event, and he was doing his job as a Fox co-host. and we were just standing around waiting for events to happen and started to make a little bit of small talk. And he asked where I was from, and he asked what I did, and so I started connecting, and then he started communicating about how he had trained Nala, how he started training canine dogs, and how excited he was to help and serve this specific town and our state as a whole. And so I was incredibly impressed, I was incredibly excited, incredibly encouraged as well, and I just want to say thank you so much. Obviously, the town of Merrillville is so excited. We are excited collectively, and I just want to thank you for taking the time. I know you have a very busy schedule, but taking time and energy out of your schedule to make sure that our community is better. We are better for you being an auxiliary officer. We're better for the contributions that you provide. Thank you so much.
Just real quick, I wanted to top it off and leave it off with this. Something I wanted to say, something I wrote, this is going to be the narrative of this venture that we have going. So I'll start off here. In the ever-evolving world of law enforcement, it's crucial that we remain attuned to the shifting tides of public perception. One constant that always seems to be in flux is how police officers and departments are viewed by the public. It's almost like a social status that plays a significant role in shaping the relationships we have with the communities we serve. These relationships, built on trust and mutual respect, are the backbone of effective policing. After all, there are far more civilians than there are officers at any given town or city, and the community often serves as the eyes and ears over the streets. Recognizing this, it's imperative that we stay informed, approachable, deeply engaged with the community. That's why I'm thrilled to announce the new addition to our force that will strengthen the bridge between us and the public. Once again, Lawrence, we are proud to welcome you here on board with the Merrillville Police Department. As I said before, Mr. Jones is from Fox and Friends. He is a co-host on Fox and Friends, and now is a auxiliary officer with the Merrillville Police Department. It's interesting that Lawrence and I share a pretty deep passion for policing and canines. That is something, and law enforcement in general. That is something that brings us all together and wants to make us a better team to work. And this was all made possible, our connection was made possible by Josh Perry and Baden Canine of Canada. They're the ones that formed one friendship to another. So this is how we have Mr. Lawrence Jones joining us. As I said, Lawrence is no stranger to our department. In fact, he was instrumental in the acquisition and training of Canine Yaga, one of our more recent additions to the force. Thanks to his passion and support, Canine Yaga is now an integral part of our team. But Lawrence's commitment doesn't stop there. His continued passion for law enforcement canines drives him to support us in even greater ways. As an auxiliary officer, Lawrence will be working closely with us to amplify our story, ensuring that the public understands who we are, what we stand for, and how we serve our community. In addition to his experience in canine training, he will help enhance our force as we continue to grow and evolve. Lawrence's role just isn't about policing. It's about fostering a deeper connection with the community, staying transparent, and showing that we're always striving to improve. His partnership will help us reach new heights in our mission to serve and protect while remaining in touch with the people that we are here to serve. Thank you. One more thing, I would like to give a thank you to First Tactical Uniform Company. They donated the boots and uniform and everything for Mr. Jones, and also for Uniforms Direct for making it happen. We were kind of on a time crunch. We weren't even sure if we were going to be able to outfit him with a uniform, but they made it happen. So thank you very much for making it happen, and thank you for your donations. That's all I have. Thank you.
So, Officer Jones, would you like to say a few words before we move on?
You can use this one.
I know you're not shy with the microphone.
Thank you all for having me here. It's a pleasure and honor to be here. Ever since I was a little boy, I've always wanted to be a cop. When kids were playing on the playground, I always was the cop. I was never the robber. When I went to school, I studied criminal justice. Right now, I'm working on my degree in Homeland Security as well. My job here is not to do anything different than your cops have already been doing on the street, but to help bring our communities together. I have a passion for the K-9 program. I know the work and the healing that they can bring to communities, not just from a law enforcement standpoint, but for the kids to have heroes, people to look up to like they already do today. We know that our communities are broken right now when it comes to the relationship with the police officers in the community, and we can strengthen that because I want them to see the cops that I see on the day-to-day basis, the cops that inspired me to want to be one when I grew up as well. So I'm happy to be a part of this great program. I hope that I'm not the last person, and I hope those that are elected in office give the officers the resources that they need so they can keep all of us safe. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. And I think you're on a tight time schedule, right? You have to go right back to the airport? Yes, sir. Well, thank you for taking time to come out and get sworn in. Appreciate it. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you. Assistant Chief Vass will be in here to fill for me shortly.
Great, thank you. Moving on tonight to the Employee of the Month program, Mr. Griffin.
Mr. President, members of the council, thank you. I can't tell you how much I delight in this part of a program that the town of Merrillville has had for its employees for some time. It was Jim Brown. I think of him as a great actor. Many of you remember him as a great football player, too. I loved him in A Dirty Dozen and other great films. But he had an interesting insight about firefighters. He thought that we should think regularly about the sacrifices that firefighters make, and that we should work to be careful that in thinking about them, that in whatever we do, that we don't cast a shadow on those great people and the great work they do. There's something to be said for that. Think about this. These are people who are eager to put a uniform on, turnout gear, and run into a fire which is not bright, even though movies will tell you it is. It's pitch dark. And they can't wait to get in there to save you. Man, I love them. And we're going to honor one of them tonight. Who is the highest ranking official from our fire protection territory this evening, representing the chief? Thanks for being here. And will Patrick Westbury please come up? Welcome. I'm going to ask you, sir, if you will introduce yourself to our public and then read the certificate of recognition for Patrick Westbury.
Sure. My name is Scott Molchan. I'm the union president here with the Merrillville Fire Department. So tonight we want to recognize Patrick Westbury. He has taken the lead in raising awareness about first responders' mental health challenges, not just in our department, but across the region. He has stepped up as a training officer, which is a demanding role itself that keeps our team prepared. Patrick has also filled in as an acting captain, providing strong leadership during his transition. Merrillville Fire Department, as well as the team, applaud him for his dedication, hard work, and his positive attitude. Congratulations.
Did we need anything else to be said? Except I apologize for my haircut. I do need to do that. It's awful. I apologize. It's growing out, but there it is. I'm grateful to have hair.
Michael, I don't think anybody's.
No, I think that looks better than what I got, but I'm grateful to have it. But anyway, thank you both very much. Mr. President, Madam Vice President, members of the council, Mr. January, thank you.
Thank you all. Congratulations. Moving on tonight to the consent agenda, we have the accounts payable register voucher for February 25th, the ARP vouchers for February 11th, and the approval of the town council meeting minutes from February 11th.
So moved.
Second.
Motion from Mrs. Uselak with the proper second. Any questions or comments on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Moving on tonight to standing committee reports, Budget and Finance. Councilor Neal.
Thank you, President Bell. I don't have any reports for Budget and Finance this evening.
Very good. Street Department and Park Maintenance, Mrs. Uselak.
Oh, thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Steve King had kept up with the streets, removing the balance of the snow and street sweeping too. And I also read your email that you had sent regarding the, I believe it's pronounced Jippo Credit Union. They're donating some land.
Yes.
Okay, they will be donating a portion, a small portion of land to the town of Merrillville, and that will be for the street department. The lot is only 52 feet by 77 feet. The street department would like to use the land to build a greenhouse to grow plants and flowers that would help beautify our town. So I would like to make a motion, if everybody's in favor, to accept their donation to the street department.
Second.
Motion by Mrs. Uselak with a second by Mr. Pettit to accept the donation of land. Anything else to add, Mr. Svetnov?
No, this is been orchestrated by Mr. King. It's a totally a win-win for the town, and it's gonna be a added-on property that the street department can expand their services with. So-
This actually connects to the existing street department property, is that right, Steve?
Correct, it does. It's just to the west of us. It's a small plot of land behind the credit union. We've been maintaining it for years already. We mow it for them, so they have donated that to us, where we're going to have a greenhouse installed. Since we've taken over the beautification, we've already started the plantings for this year. They're in the Mo's building right now, and a couple, crew members have been hard at work, and the plants are growing already, so this is just gonna enhance that.
Very good. Any other questions or comments from the council? Hearing none, Mr. January, let's do a roll call, please, since it's land donation.
Sure.
And councilors, I was reminded to use your microphones, please. Turn them towards your mouth. Joe, we can't hear you at all. Thank you, guys.
Vice President Neal.
Yes.
Councilwoman Haynes Edwards.
Aye.
Councilwoman Chandler Felton.
Aye.
Councilwoman Uselak.
Yes.
Councilman Pettit.
Yes.
President Bella.
Aye.
6 in favor.
6 in favor, motion carries, Mrs. Uselak.
Okay, and I have one more issue regarding Waterford. They are requesting streetlights, and I read the hard copy that you had. It is a very small subdivision, possibly one street. Is that correct?
Yeah, they're not requesting streetlights. They're requesting that the town take over the streetlights.
Take over them.
Since we never really did that, there was some confusion there. And I think we should go back and reimburse the HOA for the other months that we didn't cover it, so.
Yeah, I thought that, actually Linda and I met on this today, and I actually thought this was done 2 years ago, and Linda did too, but we got on the emails today and got that taken care of, so.
Okay.
I was shocked. I thought that was already done.
How much do we have to pay them, Steve?
I don't know what their bills are. We got to get them from them. We just got everything switched over today into the
Okay.
town, so.
Well, that would have to be approved by the council, correct?
Yeah, when we get the bills, we'll bring them in and go through
It
them.
was just an
Okay.
oversight.
Yeah.
Thank you. And that is my report, sir.
Thank you,
Thank
Mrs.
you.
Uselak. Council Affairs, Mr. Pettit.
Yes, Mr. President. At the workshop last night, you instructed all of us, or informed all of us, that you had been meeting with Mayor Josh Huddleston with the city of Hobart. And at this time, I'd like to make a motion that the town enter into a memorandum of agreement with the city of Hobart to form a Route 30 Joint Task Force Steering Committee. The purpose of this agreement is to establish the task force to study the shared challenges and resources pertaining to the infrastructure and transit issues of Merrillville and Hobart, including increased traffic congestion, insufficient pedestrian infrastructure, and limited transit options in an effort to coordinate state and federal fund opportunities to maximize the effective solutions.
Is there a second?
Second.
A motion is a second to enter into agreement with the city of Hobart to form the joint task force. And then Mr. Svetnov, I believe, will have a resolution to support that later, next meeting? Okay. Any questions or comments on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries, Mr. Pettit.
Thank you.
Anything else, sir?
That is all.
Mr. Griffin, anything from Ms. Hardaway about personnel policy and employee benefits?
Mr. President, members of the council, I was instructed by the chair that she would have nothing to report for any of her committee assignments this evening.
Very good, thank you. Environmental Affairs, Mrs. Uselak.
Well, at this time, I spoke with the resident regarding that ditch, Kaiser Ditch, and they said that there was no cleaning in there and residents are dumping garbage. So maybe, Mr. Matt Lake, you could check that out. It's north of Route 30, north of McDonald's. And that's all that I have to report right now.
Thank you.
Thank you, Matt.
No problem, thanks.
Moving on then to Election, Public Relations, and Town Beautifications, Mrs. Neal.
Thank you, President Bello. We are still working with our gateway signs. I did get an email from Robinson Engineering to meet on Monday, which of course I was just getting back into town, so I have to get back with him to go over the preliminary ones that we drew up to put up for the park and the one for the entry that we were going to use for an example. But he did send that information through. So more to come.
Very good, thank you. Economic Development, Mr. Pettit.
On the heels of that, Vice President Neal, at the RDC, we did approve using RDC funds for a gateway sign and a sign at Stefik Park as an example to the residents to see what your committee, you and Shauna and Leona were obviously at the RDC, what your committee had selected, the manufacturer. I think Bob's in the audience somewhere. So we will install those two out of RDC funds. The dollar amounts slipped my mind, ladies. I'm sure you both, Shauna might remember, but we did take that action in the RDC. So they're between Angie and Steve and Michael, they will get that order put together. And I believe, commissioners, remind me, I think we had selected the 101st and Broadway location for the gateway sign, and then Stefik Park in Leona's ward for the first one, and then we'll look at other ways how we're going to handle the rest of the signs. I know your committee did, Sean, I think you said 12 gateway signs and 9 park signs, or do I have it the other way?
I think that's correct. I think it's 12 parks and 9 gateways.
9, okay, and we'll have to continue to address that as the council. The other item, Mr. President, under economic development, there were 2 resolutions that were passed in the steps that are needed. One is a tax incentive on personal property tax for Panduit Corporation in the silos at Sanders Farm. They are installing approximately $17 million worth of equipment. Once again, this is a huge boom in the economic development arena that Merrillville has never seen, similar to the Amazon project. Mr. Lars Forgrens is here. We will have a resolution that the council needs to act on preliminarily, and then March 11th, Angie Chilcott will advertise for a public hearing, public comment on the final resolution awarding that incentive. And then we also took the last resolution step for the bond for Liberty Estates West with Mr. Randy Hall and Hallmark Construction. So that is also later on in the agenda. That is all.
Thank you. Utility Liaison,
No report.
Mr. Pettit, back to you. Parks, Recreation, Dina Barbara White Community Center.
Thank you, Mr. President. I asked Michael if he wanted to take the lead on this because he has been serving in this role, but, and I think many of us know, it gives me great pleasure to introduce Jerry McCartney, our new park superintendent.
Welcome, Jerry.
Jerry, as many of you may know on the council, Jerry comes to us with a number of years of experience in recreation and particularly nonprofit through Boys and Girls Club, clubs that he has worked at throughout the Midwest. We're very happy to have you on board, Jerry. I know Michael is.
Yes.
So with that being said, Mr. President, again, we have our standing fourth Thursday meeting at 5 o'clock this Thursday at the Dean and Barbara White Community Center. Michael will go through the finances. We have some projects that we want to talk about in the center as well as the park system themselves. So we'll handle that Thursday night at 5 o'clock.
Very good. Thank you. Welcome, Jerry.
Welcome.
Moving on to special committees, abandoned and blighted property, Haynes Edwards.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just reporting that we did have abandoned and blighted properties court on was it this Tuesday?
Yes.
This Tuesday. My days are mixed up. And we are moving forward with some cases, and we will reconvene next month. And we're trying to get some of these blighted properties taken care of.
Good, very good. Special town projects, Mrs. Neal.
Thank you, President Bella. Unfortunately, we did have to cancel our Black History Family Sneaker Ball. It's actually going to be put on hold until a later date. So we'll get more information about that soon. But we are working now on other town events, looking to have partnership with Ross Township for Easter. And we also going to start working on our 4th of July and, of course, our Juneteenth, where we are anticipating on doing the sneaker ball, doing the Juneteenth celebration. So we have a lot of things going on as far as events.
Very good. The Semi-Quincentennial Committee, Councilor Shi.
Very good, President Bella. Better and better. I have nothing to report at this time.
Very good. Moving on to Department and Commission reports, Stormwater Management Resources, our Director is Matt Lake.
Yeah, thank you. Just really quick, we're looking to update our stormwater master plan, and, it's over 10 years old now. We have completed many of the projects, and so we're looking to the next phase of our evolution as a utility and to tackle new projects. So I had coordinated with Dan Repay from Local River Basin Development Commission, and we're going to be submitting an application this Friday, see if they'll be willing to cover 50% of the cost to redo that and update that particular document. They are working on getting their regional plan together, so the timing is very good for something like this, so I have high hopes for that. The MS4 annual meeting is coming up in May. This is a statewide conference. I was just noted that I'm going to be speaking at the conference, so I will be putting a presentation together for that. Working on our annual reports for compliance with IDM. Those will be due in April. And we're also looking to replace our jet vac truck. We went to a conference, a WWETT conference, to look at different companies and manufacturers and look at all the amenities on the newer versions of these expensive vehicles. And so we narrowed it down to VacCon and Vactor. So we're going to be coordinating with them, getting some demos, demonstrations done, and spec out some trucks and see where the prices land and see if we could work out a deal with the trade-in as well. So just upgrade our equipment. Our Southmore Park project is pretty close to going out to bid. We have to do some potholing with some hydro excavation in order to locate some of the utilities just to make sure that everything is going to work as designed. And our Hendrick Street drainage project is also pretty close to being put out to bid, so we'll be looking at that very soon. And again, looking forward to the spring construction season. And that's all I have.
Very good. Thank you. Lake County Solid Waste Management District, Councilor Neal.
Thank you, President Bella. The Lake County Household Hazardous Waste Collection Schedule has posted on their website. I will make sure that it is also posted on our town website. The first collection date is scheduled for March the 22nd, and that's going to be at the Lake County Fairgrounds, and the time is from 9 until 1 p.m. But this information will be posted on our town website for those who are interested, and it's the schedule for the entire year. The next meeting is in third week in March, so hopefully we'll be able to have that meeting.
Great.
We've been struggling a little bit with the meetings. And that's all.
Mrs. Neal, can you also report on the Fire Territory Board, please?
I don't have an updated report for the Fire Territory Board.
Clerk Treasurer's Office, Mr. January.
Yes, Mr. President. All right, so the Clerk Treasurer's Office, we're in the process of completing some end-of-the-year reports. So we're getting debt totals and all of that good stuff that the town, I know, is particularly interested in. But some of the statistics that I can share today, and it's not so much statistic. Our payroll every month is about $1.3 million. And I would have given you the exact figure, but I left that sheet of paper in the office. And food and beverage tax, something that the town is getting some benefit from, and we had a meeting for yesterday in determining how we're going to use it. Has $1,194,888.53 in it. We're expecting some good things out of that use. The overall, the town at the end of January had $46,351,422.31. 36, close to 37% of that was in the RDA, which is doing a lot of economic development around the town with the TIF districts. Also, next, the town has about 17% in general funds that's just not obligated to anyone. But I believe that's just about it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Moving on tonight to department reports. Jerry, you're getting your feet wet. Anything to report from the Parks and Recreation Department?
I do have a couple things. I know the HVAC project should be completed by the end of the week or early next week. And then we also are looking into the floors that are in the classrooms at the center, working on getting those replaced as well. And that is all.
Very good, thank you. Police Department, Assistant Chief.
We have nothing to report tonight. Chief News has said next month we'll have the totals from January.
Yeah, very good. Ms. Shine, Planning and Building Department.
Mr. President, I have no report tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. King, Street Department. Nice job on the snow.
Thank you. So I'll just do I'll do a quick recap. Since last council meeting, we did have a bout with snow. We had all the troops out. They hit it hard. They did a great job. They were out almost all weekend. They put in a lot of hours. I definitely appreciate that. We're also doing a lot of cross-training on our heavy equipment now. Kind of slow right now, so we're cross-training. We've got one new employee who's in CDL training right now at our facility. We have a certified CDL trainer on staff who's taking care of that for us. We have plants growing in the Mo's building for the beautification. They're coming right along. They're sprouting, and things are looking good over there. So we're pretty excited about that. And we continue to maintain the parks, the park properties, and the bike path as well. So we're on top of that. So.
Thank you, Steve.
You're welcome.
Mr. Griffin, Town Manager.
Mr. President, you should have all received the monthly report. As you know, there's two a month, one that's really reporting on my tasks. The second is really the report that's required under the municipal code from all the department heads. Ms. Rosas now has taken that on as a task for me, and she compiles that and presents it to you. Unless you have a question about that for me, I'll be content to be seated.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on this evening to general orders, we have ordinance 25-02. It's action by the legislative body of the Plan Commission to amend sections of the municipal code to reestablish the impact fee for the park infrastructure, repealing all ordinances in conflict therewith.
So moved, Mr. President.
Second.
You have a motion by Mr. Pettit, with second by Mrs. Uszak for approval. Mr. Svetnov, can you explain what we're doing with this ordinance?
I'll defer to Mr. Griffin at this time because he's
Okay.
pivotal on this.
Mr. President, members of the council, a series of tasks had to take place before we came here. You have in your code, actually it's section 6-294 of the Merrillville Municipal Code, existing park impact fees. These are fees that are paid by developers based on residential dwellings that they actually construct for sale. And these are supposed to give us resources for infrastructure for new park assets. The time under the statute that these can exist is 5 years. They expire automatically by operation of statute. We need to actually renew ours. Mr. Arshami of the Arsh Group is here. He actually convened a park impact fee committee appointed by our council president. They met and made a recommendation about the new cost basis, particularly increasing it on the basis that we now have a Dean and Barbara White Community Center. This is actually, because it is a zoning ordinance where we're amending the text of an existing zoning law. It has been before the Plan Commission and at its meeting. It passed 6-0. It comes to you with a favorable recommendation, and our hope is you'll favor it with your adoption as well. These won't go into effect until August 24th. That's 180 days from adoption, should it be adopted this evening. That's by operation of law. There's nothing more I can do about that. And our current fees will expire March 31st. That I did verify that. That is in our code. Mr. President, if you have any further questions, I can actually defer with your permission to Mr. Arshami. Otherwise, we do think it's pretty straightforward. It basically does a small correction for the fees that are already in our code by amending the code, and then it embraces the new numbers that are in there.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
Any questions for either Michael or Mr. Shani? Hearing none. Mr. January, roll call, please.
Yes, sir. Vice President Neal.
Yes.
Councilwoman Haynes Edwards.
Aye.
Councilwoman Chandler Felton.
Aye.
Councilwoman Uselak.
Yes.
Councilman Pettit.
Yes.
President Bella.
Aye.
6 in favor.
6 in favor, motion carries. Moving on tonight to ordinance 25-03. It is an ordinance of the town of Merrillville authorizing the issuance of economic development tax increment revenue bonds of the town of Merrillville, Indiana, and approving and authorizing other actions in respect thereto. Mr. Griffin.
Mr. President and members of the council, and Mr. January, this is actually an ordinance that's necessary to authorize what I've been trained and teach this as private placement bonds. These are developer-backed bonds, I think is the nomenclature you use here. These are what I call textbook examples of where we use the powers of redevelopment and there's no taxpayer liability, there's no cost to the taxpayer, and these basically are supported by an agreement by the developer to purchase them. These are terms of art for these developer-backed bonds. These bonds will allow and remove the barriers to investment necessary for Liberty Estates. I believe this is called Phase 2? West, I beg your pardon. Thank you. And this will provide an incentive for the developer to continue with the great work he is doing to provide housing at the high level, also trying to make it accessible for those who are entering the housing market by allowing for contract payments. And our hope is, although it's not been formulated, there's a significant amount of property there that might be, after there's some discussion with the council, marshaled for the purposes of parkland, and it's sizable to the point it could be a regional park, which we've not really had here for a long time. We're hopeful that the council will favor this with your vote this evening so that those steps can be taken.
Thank you, Mr. Griffin. I'll entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Second.
This motion by Mrs. Uselak, second by Mr. Pettit. Any other discussion from the council? Hearing none, Mr. January.
Vice President Neal.
Yes.
Councilwoman Haynes Edwards.
Aye.
Councilwoman Chandler Felton.
Aye.
Councilwoman Uselak.
Yes.
Councilman Pettit.
Yes.
President Bella.
Aye.
6 in favor.
6 in favor, motion carries.
I thank the council.
We have a second reading ordinance tonight. It's ordinance 25-03.
That's what we just did.
We
Mr.
just
President.
did that.
Sorry.
We missed 04.
Sorry.
Skipped one.
Yeah.
Skipped one.
You skipped one.
You skipped 04.
2504.
Yeah, it's out of order.
2504.
Yeah, we're kind of backwards here. It's all right.
Ordinance 2504, Rick.
Very good, thank you. Ordinance 25-04, excuse me. It's ordinance to fix and establish the wage and salary rates of elected officials and non-elected officers and the employees of the town of Merrillville, Indiana. This is going to correct a couple items. And Mr. Griffin, can you tell us what we're changing, please?
This is the second reading, so we should all sign.
January, thank you. This is just going to make some textual corrections with regard to the Parks and Recreation Department and with regard to the Town Administration Department, dealing with the media officer. And also, we've tried to get the Parks and Recreation Department to have all of the titles that are in the wage and salary ordinance now be fully aligned with their relative approved job description. We're not making changes beyond that. If the council would be open to it, we certainly wouldn't mind if you suspended the rules and considered it for both readings this evening, but it's not so sensitive that it couldn't wait until your next meeting for adoption.
Thank you. It's a pleasure of the council.
So moved.
Second.
Mrs. Uselak, a second by Counselor Shi. Discussion from the council. Michael, I want to compliment the form that this is in. It's very easy to follow, and it has different departments listed. It's very organized. Thank you for that. Any other discussion from the council? Seeing none, Mr. January, roll call, please.
Vice President Neal,
Yes.
Councilwoman Haynes Edwards,
Aye.
Councilwoman Chandler Felton,
Aye.
Councilwoman Uselak,
Yes.
Councilman Pettit,
Yes.
President Bella.
Aye.
6 in favor.
6 in favor, motion carries. Yeah, moving on tonight to resolutions. Resolution 25-10. It's a resolution in Town of Maryville authorizing roving the receipt of surplus personal property from the Lake County Solid Waste Management District. Councilor Neal, anything to add on this resolution?
No, I don't have anything else to add.
Would you like to make a motion then?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to approve, resolution 25-10.
Second.
Councilor Neal, motion. Councilor Schieffer, a second.
Yes.
Very good. Open for discussion. Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on tonight to Resolution 25-11 is a preliminary resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Merrillville declaring an area of the town as an economic revitalization area and approving a personal property tax abatement for Panduit Sales Group. This is what Mr. Pettit was referencing earlier this evening.
Motion to approve, Mr. President.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Pettit with a second by Mrs. Uselak. Open for discussion.
I would like to add, in regards to these TIF districts, just as I've been studying the TIFs have got a mixed review, negative and positive depending on who you look at. But from my research, particularly since we've had that Crow Holding thing, where they basically said they were going to do all of the development, I saw it as another pot of money that the town can use to actually do some economic development. But I do believe that one of the things that we have to caution as elected officials, and particularly you all as the council people determining the laws, is that we have to watch to make sure that the town is getting a lot of benefit out of the TIFs. Because often, from what I've seen, a lot of the benefit is going towards the businesses and not necessarily the town. And I'd love to see that we sort of curtail some of the spending so that we can actually have more money that we can use for police, firefighters, the school system, and other things in the school district. So that's the only thing that I wanted to add to it. Thank you.
Very good. Any other comments from the council? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Moving on tonight to Resolution 25-12. It's a resolution of the Town of Maryville authorizing and approving the extension of the solid waste service contract. Mr. Griffin.
Mr. President, it is my prayer that this will be the last. I beg your pardon. It is my prayer that this will be the last time I'm going to have to seek an extension from the council. The relevant law, after consultation with the town attorney, does inform this. This would provide for a one-year extension. It would be about a 4% increase over the current monthly rate effective April 1st. As you know, I've been open about this. I'm trying to talk us into moving from not to continue to provide solid waste management services for the town, but to provide it in a different way where we'll assume the billing responsibilities and it's what's called a single subscriber model. We'll actually pay the contract and then we'll bill for that at fees that you'll set. But frankly, I just need some time to be able to do proof of concept to the council because you're the policymakers. And we're getting to where this current contract would expire if you don't take steps at the end of March. So my ask is that you'll approve this. And again, if in fact I can't present to the council effectively persuading you that I think that our model that I'm suggesting would be preferable to provide better service and diversify our revenue, better service for our residents, which is primary, and to diversify our revenue stream, which we don't have a lot of options for, then it will be my task to go out, publish for bids for a new contract over a longer period of time, with the successful bidder being the lowest and most responsive bidder. But until then, I don't want continuity of service to be ended. Again, this would represent a 4% increase over the current, what is a monthly rate that I think you all get billed quarterly. And I hope the council will favor this with your favorable vote this evening.
Thank you, sir. We covered this in a workshop too last night. What's the wishes of the council?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Mrs. Neal and Counselor Shi for approval of Resolution 25-12. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries, Mr. Griffin.
I thank the council.
Moving on tonight to Resolution 25-13. It's a resolution authorizing, approving, and accepting the donation of real property on 17 West 73rd Avenue. This is the actual property that Mrs. Uszak was referring to.
Right,
So this is just a legalese that we would have to do to take care of it.
that's correct.
It's the
So moved.
authorizing resolution.
Motion by Mrs. Uszak,
Second.
seconded by Counselor Neal to approve Resolution 25-13. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Enjoy your new land, Mr. King. Is there any BZA or large gathering actions this evening?
No BZA or large gathering this evening.
Thank you. We have no old business, no new business. Going on to public comment. Is there any public comment this evening? Please approach the podium, state your name and address. No comment? Oh, sorry.
I'm back. I'm Jennifer Lukowski, 9382 Shelby Lane, Crown Point, Indiana, 46307. You know, I've had some time to calm down. So my next thing is, when we say the Pledge of Allegiance, what are we doing? Stating our, giving it all, right? To me, it's prayer. When you're praying, for me, it's the education. To me, the town of Merrillville has failed our schools, failed them. So at this point, I feel disgusted by the schools, but at this point, I think with everybody on here, I hope we have election time to where I can actually go out there and fight for the people that will fight for my child. And so far, sad to say, there's only been one man tonight that has said anything about giving back to our education. You know, the police department, I give you guys all the recognition. I will do anything. You guys need cookies, you guys need burgers, I'm there. Our fire departments, our ambulance, how many people are let down by the town? And who lets them down? It's not the people, because we're paying you guys. My area, where I live, we don't benefit from the Dean and Barbara, whatever place it is. We don't benefit from it. We live too far out there, but you guys don't do nothing for us out there. No, better yet, you just shove us in a little corner, right? But take our money at the same time. But then I gotta fight for my child to have an education, and there's only one man on this entire thing here. I hope every single one of you are being able to be voted in or out, because one man, Mr. January, I gotta say, you got my vote, and I will fight for you. I don't know how to do it. I am not someone that's usually here, but I'll be here every meeting. I will do my school myself. I will learn every single thing I have to do. I'm not gonna email people a private email. For what? For you to feel sorry for my disabled child that the school, the town has failed? You guys got jokes. You guys got jokes. Because not one of y'all, except Mr. January, said anything about my school. Our schools that are failing. 7 years old, in the first grade, and not one day of school this year. That's pretty disgusting to me. That says somebody's discriminating against my child. That says the town is failing our schools. So is it a school issue or is it a town issue? Are you guys robbing our schools of the money somewhere? Because I'll look into it. I can dig.
We don't supply the school with any funding, no.
You don't supply our schools?
No, the
with
state of
any-
Indiana does that separate, yeah.
The state of Indiana, so, the state of Indiana. So when Mr. January said about funds, right? The town doesn't give any funds to the school? The, what is it, the abatement? I'm not sure. I will learn this, trust me. I will educate myself. The abatement doesn't go to our schools at all? None of that money? No percentage goes to our education? So the town doesn't invest in the town then? The town doesn't invest in your future?
She's over.
Yeah, thank you very much,
serious.
ma'am.
Okay, you're welcome, I'm over.
Thank you.
Shame on you though.
Yeah,
Eight-
ma'am.
8031 Massachusetts Street, Pablo Payan. So a couple weeks ago, maybe about a month ago, we were here, and Crow Holdings was here asking for a 10-year tax abatement. And for you guys that don't know, Crow Holdings made $12.1 billion in 2023. Very successful and are continuing to be successful, and then still came in and asked for a 10-year tax abatement, and the council gave them their 10-year tax abatement. So when the schools are missing out on money, we're not getting the full property tax because of these 10-year tax abatements. On top of that, they're in a TIF zone. So then the money doesn't go to the schools, library, police, fire, it goes to the RDC. Today we had another company, Panduit, and I'm sorry I didn't get your name. Panduit made $1.6 billion in 2024 as a revenue. Successful company. I was in manufacturing for a long time. They don't pay taxes on materials that they use to consume products. They get tax abatements on their properties. Now we're going to give them tax abatement on their equipment. How is that fair? We can't even get a street light from Marcela Amos. Sean, you promised her a street light. You said, "Oh, I'll give me your vote and I'll put a street light." No street light. NIPSCO said we can have a wood pole street light in 3 to 4 weeks if the town requests it. 3 to 4 weeks. The engineer of NIPSCO. We can't even get that. So what are we doing for the town? Giving away money to corporations? And nothing. We don't even have an organizational chart. I've been asking Mr. Griffith for an org chart of the town. We don't have it. You might have it. We don't know who reports to who. Why? Because there's family members intertwined in this? I don't know why. A basic org chart. Any company has this.
Hi, I just had a couple things. So, main thing that I just wanted to pop up here, I know that for my area, for my neighborhood, by the schools, we can't really probably put those speed bumps there because then when there's snow plows and stuff like that, they have to get removed, so that'd be difficult. We still have a lot of people speeding. I know Brittany said over here that she almost got hit again because people are speeding. I was wondering if we could at least put like school zone signs up besides just having the monitor up there for the area, just so they actually know. And anywhere there's school openings, because we still have those kids crossing the street. We don't have a good sidewalk over there. So they're always, I just watched a girl, actually one of my students walked down my street. She wasn't paying attention because students don't. She was walking down the street close to the middle and on her phone, texting away. And I was just worried. I was like, Madison, please pay attention. But she's a student. She's a child. She's not going to really fully pay attention. There's no sidewalk for her to work or walk on. So at least having like school zones, because people, I feel like they might respect those a little bit more. Probably not so much, but I mean, I've almost gotten hit almost daily, so I stopped checking my mailbox because I'd get home late. And every single time I tried to check my mailbox, someone went zooming past me, and I had to hug the mailbox because I almost got hit. So just thinking like, what's the safest bet here since we are a school zone in that area, by the high school, by the middle school, if we can at least add those around the area so they can remember it's a school zone and not just have people driving like crazy, and maybe have a little bit more police presence during like the morning, when the students are walking in the afternoon as well, so that they don't get hit.
What's the address?
6950 Delaware. It's right by the high school. Thanks.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Beth Scott. I live on West 71st Place, and I want to say thank you for having a nice police presence on Broadway in the morning and the afternoon with the school buses. I hope you are catching lots of people because that has been terrifying the whole time we've lived here. There's kids that cross the street from Maple Leaf. I can't even tell you how many kids have almost been hit. So I hope you're catching lots of people because I love having you out there. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Brian Messarch, I live on 68th Place. I would like to start off by saying, President Bella, I've been asking you for a sit-down meeting for ages now. We have residents that want to be involved. It's somewhat sad. If we were famous news hosts, maybe we'd get to help the town out. Maybe we'd be able to do something. Maybe we could get a snazzy uniform. We have to go out and buy our own T-shirts. It's a little insulting when you have plenty of people who want to do plenty of things. We want to start a garden club, a bicycle club. We want to get things going in this town. You won't even bother to sit down and talk to us. And it's the frustration. There are various things that we dance around. These tax abatements, yeah, they take money out of one pocket and put it in another pocket. Let's not be this park impact fee. What we all need to be asking about is how much money are we losing because someone didn't file the paperwork in a proper time frame? Who's going to put their hand up? Who's going to say we lost $10,000 or $100,000 or $1 million? Who's going to put their hand up and say that was me? That was my bad. That was my mistake. Because that's the type of thing that, yeah, people and normal corporations, they get fired for. The reason why Merrillville doesn't have things, we should have every trick and toy for the police department, for our fire department. They shouldn't have to beg for people. We shouldn't have to be begging for resources to do the little things. And the funny thing is the smallest little things that we're asking for is to sit down and talk. Let's iron some of this out. There's a lot of frustration out here, and we're still doing nothing to get rid of that frustration, and that frustration builds up. You guys want decorum, okay, let's have some decorum, but at the same time, two parties need to come to the same table and talk and say, what do you want? What do you want? How can we work this out? How can we make things better? That's what the Merrillville Change Agency is all about, making things better. We need to have you guys come on out, get on board, and let's start talking and communicating. And that's what we expect. Thank you.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Randy Hall, the owner of Liberty States, and I wanted to take just 2 seconds to respond to one item that this gentleman brought up regarding impact fees. And I was in the committee that reviewed raising these fees from the point they're at. It had been some time since the town had reviewed them. They were out of date compared to some other towns. And the committee members recommended, and the council has approved, I believe, and I don't know the steps, to raise these fees paid by builders, developers like myself, to maintain and improve your parks. And all I wanted to say is, to my knowledge, it's a statutory issue, this gap in time that you referenced. And as a private developer, I just wanted to offer, as a partner of the town, to put something in writing with you as my commitment to bypass any period of time that these fees might not be collected. We will pay those fees, even though they're not statutory required. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Bonita Brown. I've only been here in Merrillville for a little over 2 years. My question that I have is regarding infrastructure, particularly water main breaks. Is that a responsibility of Merrillville or Indiana American
It's the water
Water?
company, ma'am.
They're a
It's the water
separate,
company?
they're a separate private utility.
Okay, because, you know, it keeps happening on our block. And it's just a Band-Aid job that they perform each time. Within the last year, it's happened 4 times.
Wow.
And those workers out there have indicated that our pipes are old, and that's why it continues to happen. Now,
Could
I'm
you
just
wait
wondering-
after the meeting and see Steve King here? Steve King's our street department.
Okay.
And he has a contact at American Water, and
Okay.
we'll contact them and see what's going on.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Or Counselor, who, I'm sorry?
Sure.
Chandler.
Me?
Yes,
Yeah.
Leona,
Utility liaison.
can you, yeah, let's do that. Okay, sir.
Samuel Payan, 407 West 89th Place. I want to commend Mr. Rick Bella for using your government email for government official business, so thank you. Appreciate that. Thanks for that change. And also, January, we had Crow Holdings regarding tax abatements, and there was certain information and research sent out. It's clear that the council people do not understand research and how that could best inform our decisions. Panduit, as stated a little bit earlier, $1.6 billion in revenue. Okay, so I see you're part of from Panduit, so I'm talking to you. And the research shared that tax abatements have no statistically significant effect on areas of job growth. Tax abatements only has a net positive effect about 10% of the time. Tax abatements are only effective because other cities offer them. They basically just exist to incentivize companies, and they're often seen as a form of wealth transfer from local citizens to corporations. So as we make decisions, again, we're constantly making it against interests of our own people, and we need money. We don't need money to leave our door. So I hope that, I mean, we got to make changes. So again, President Bella, thank you for constant communication on email, and you're one of the few that does so. So thank you.
Chris Holstein, 100 West 73rd Avenue. I'd like to start by thanking you, Randy. I've watched some of the meetings that you've been in. He's a breath of fresh air, folks. The investment he's made in this town, the donations for the parks, and for the nonprofits. I did see that. That's the kind of person we want to encourage in our community. He makes a difference. We all should make a difference. One other thing. I'd like to talk about 6098 Broadway. That's the house next to Joe that was taken down. It was recently sold at a tax auction for $2,100. The town spent a lot more money taking that down. There was never a lien put on that property. The town spent, I don't know the exact number, but let's call it a large number, to do right for Joe, but yet we never even put a tax lien on it. So the town spent all this money. Someone went out and spent $2,100, got a lot on Broadway. We can do better than that, folks. The town had a right to recoup its money. We didn't recoup a dime. That's wrong. We need to be better than that. And Randy, once again, thank you for being a man of honor because of that time lapse. You didn't have to do what you promised to do tonight, so thank you for that. Finally, when we're talking about Liberty East and Liberty West, those are going to be in TIF zones. TIF zones are killing us, folks. I want you to think of it this way. You buy a nice home that Randy has built, you pay your taxes, you're a good citizen in the community. Say your family of 4, 2 children to Merrillville schools. You're doing the things that you should be doing, but your tax revenue is going to help their educations. It's going into a TIF zone. The RDC controls that money. The money they're paying for taxes should make a difference. It should help to better their quality of life, their children, the streets. Steve's gonna be responsible for paving these streets, fixing the streets. We don't have revenue going towards that because it's going into a TIF zone. And Mr. Nueces is gonna have to have law enforcement patrol that area. None of the money that goes into this TIF zone is gonna be designated to help the boys in the blue, our fire department. These TIF zones are everywhere. It's depriving our tax base. Mr. Griffin has told us time and time again that the revenue he works with is less than in the town of Highland.
Chris, finish up, please.
Thank you. I'll be 1 second. $9.1 million in growing goes to the RDC yearly. Much of that money could go to help make a difference. And by the way, thank you to all the boys in blue for everything that you do. We need more of you, though. Thank you.
No, sir.
I would like to add that, Brian, thank you for bringing up the thing about the bicycle club. And something I was thinking of just as a treasurer, I want to do what's called the treasurer's race, where we can actually just get out, bicycle, and get people involved. And I believe the council people will probably be interested in participating in something like that along with the park. We can do something that's unique in the town of Merrillville where we've got all of the kids out, get some bicycles, get sponsors for them to have bicycles, use the bike trail, and call it the treasurer/counselor's race. I think with the planning committee and everything that we have, I think that would be something excellent that we can actually do. So I just wanted to mention that. Thank you for mentioning that because I